Who here? Yonash is here. Wonderful to see you, brother. Seven Serpents. Who has heard the slavery made whites wealthy? The great bass guitarist is here. Wonderful to see you, brother. Many wonderful things that he's doing. One of the reasons why the Meme Pathogen MP, and all they are for those who are brand new, is an idea that is an infection. It is inserted into countless scenarios in news and entertainment, at speeches, etc., and then gets into our subconscious mind. We begin to believe that it is genuine, it's true, it's real, and that then it becomes part of the anti-white narrative, which is a fiction in which we all live, where those who are anti-white, they take reality, they bend it to make it prove the anti-white narrative, they ignore it, they will fabricate reality, they will write if something will prove the anti-white narrative, they will write it in the sky all day long. That's all it is. And one of the reasons why so many of us hear this MP in several different iterations is that it is so useful to the anti-whites to be able to say, well, the reason why your parents live in the single family home and they have, maybe they have 2 cars even, and they're able to take a vacation. The reason why when they pass, they have things to give you for inheritance. The reason why is because of slavery, because slavery made white people rich. And the reason why everyone else is not doing as well is because they didn't have slavery. I mean, can you believe the stupidity? But this, again, remember, you don't get into the all the particulars. You don't have to, the moment you start talking about like the trans-Sahara slave trade, and believe me, I've gone through all of that myself in the past. I got it all wrong. The difference was when I discovered it didn't work, I gave it up. I moved on to something that did work. But it's so very powerful because, and it's also, it contains these premises that are unspoken, that your industriousness, your creativity, your whatever is innate for you, your talents, the time you spent educating yourself, the time you spent at home while others were partying and going to the beach or whatever it might be, all of that is irrelevant. All of that is immaterial, because the reason why you're succeeding is because the white race had slavery. They conducted slavery. They participated in the infernal practice of slavery. So let me jump to the bottom here. And you can, the great Donning Armor is with us, folks. Great to see you, good brother. Up on this platform. If I do, I might be able to show it. Anybody got examples of slavery made white people wealthy? Well, here's your retort, and here's how meme curatives work. They're first meant for you, because the meme pathogen circulates in your mind for the rest of your life. You can no more forget these ideas than you can forget how to drive a car. You can consciously say you don't have white guilt, but you still have it. You can consciously say, I don't know how to drive a car anymore, but you still can drive it. You're just being very foolish when you don't own your wounds. It's like having a wound on your body. It's worse, though, one in your mind, but having one on your body and just ignoring that the wound is there. And it's the kind of wound that's not going to take care of itself, if you know what I mean. You're going to have to address this. You're going to have to clean it out. You're going to have to bandage it up. You're going to have you wrecked on your motorcycle on the pavement like I have, and you got to dig the gravel out. You got to get the gravel out. You just can't leave it there. It's going to make a mess of your guts. So you've got to dig it out. And you got to bandage things up. You got to clean the wound. And that's even more important with the mind. So a meme curative at first is intended for you personally. As we reach the bottom of the hour, 5:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time in the once great state of Virginia, you have to confront, challenge, and dispel, which is how we put it here in Going Free. When you hear yourself either saying the statement that, well, white people had slavery, so that's why nice neighborhoods, you have to immediately address it. When you read something in the newspaper where it says, well, because of slavery, whites have this legacy of slavery. That's one of the iterations, right? Because of the legacy of slavery, white people good, non-white people are just set back. Well, they just came here and they were never enslaved. It doesn't matter. They're still tossed in because this is all about being anti-white. So don't bother trying to point out what appears to be the errors. The errors are just lies. It's just because they're lying to you. That's what anti-whites do. Those are the pretexts we talk about. When you read it in the paper, you have to immediately address it with a meme curative. When you are in a conversation with a vague or with an anti-white and they say this sort of thing, you have to immediately address it with a meme curative. You do this over time, and eventually the meme curatives become triggers in your subconscious mind, so that when somebody says something about legacy of slavery or white people have money because of slavery, and that triggers the meme pathogen in your mind, that instantly triggers the meme curative in your mind, and it's neutralized. That is how this works, ladies and gentlemen. That is what we teach you how to do in Go Free. Slavery made whites wealthy. Well, here is one MC, meme curative, that you can use. And you don't have to memorize these, although some of them are very easily, most memorable, so very easily memorized. But others, what we really want you to do is to really get the crux of it and then be able to articulate in your own words, which is what's going to be most memorable for you. Slavery made whites wealthy, says the vague or the anti-white. The meme curative is, if slavery made a people wealthy, every race would be wealthy, because every race practiced slavery until Western kind put an end to slavery around the world. You wouldn't claim that any other race's successes were due to an evil institution, which proves that you are anti-white. So do you see the power of the meme curative there? Now, you're not going into all of the details like the Barbary slave trade and the years that took place, and the rulers, I won't say the particular religion, but the rulers who were behind that sort of thing, and then the Trans-Sahara versus the transatlantic. You don't get into all of that sort of thing, because all that ends up doing is keeping you mired in the anti-white narrative, where your facts that you pull out of this history book or that history book are easily rebutted by the lifetime of hundreds, maybe even thousands of times that your interlocutor, your audience, the person you're talking with, has heard in entertainment, which for them, for us all, to our subconscious minds, is the real world. So they've probably watched a professor or the intelligent person in the movie or TV show or book say that, well, white people invented slavery, or white people. I did a video a couple of years ago where it was an educational video, I mean, can you believe this, for elementary level students, that was saying that white people created slavery. Absolutely preposterous. Do you think you could have a conversation with somebody who thinks this way about who all had slavery and where it started and who put an end to it? Of course you can't. Instead, you take them out of the anti-white narrative, you bring them over to our story, where you are provided with thought chains that lead you to answers that will make you successful in that conversation. And that's what the second part of this meme curative does. You start off by saying, every race would be wealthy because every race practiced slavery. Well, they might try to deny that. It would be most foolish if they did. But they know deep down that that other races practiced slavery. And what I have had in return, I've never had an anti-white, I can't recall, say to me, no other race practiced slavery but the white. But I could see it happening. I can't recall anybody ever saying that to me. I do recall anti-white saying to me, well, not as much. And then when they do that, I laugh uproariously. But of course, they then, if they try to contend with who put an end to slavery, You can laugh again. I've laughed at that. And that's one of the ways that you stay in our story and out of their story. But the second part of this, you wouldn't claim that any other race's successes were due to an evil institution, which proves that you are anti-white. Now, the person you're speaking with has to try to defend him or herself. Well, no. Now, if they say, well, yeah, I'm anti-white and proud to be so, you just say, thank you, have a nice day, psychotic person, and you get away from them. Everyone else, though, you try to help. And depending upon how hard they resist, will determine how much effort you really give to that person. Remember, for everybody out there, every white person out there that puts up a big battle against you, a big anti-white battle against you, there are going to be 10 white people out there that will happily receive your message. So don't waste your time on that white person. Get to somebody who can happily receive it. Some with a little effort, some with a little more effort, some with a little less effort. But this is what we do. This is how we are changing the world. And therefore the conversation, the milieu in which all of the conversations take place. You wouldn't claim that about any other race's or any other race's success was due to an evil institution, which proves that you are anti-white. Now, when you're talking to yourself, how do you say that? Who do you talk to? You say it to yourself about the people who told you in the past. Maybe you can't remember you could make it a general statement. All of those people in the past who told me that we're successful because white people had slaves at one point, they're all anti-white. That's why they told me that. That's why they lied to me all the way from when I was a child, all the way up into my adulthood, and they continue to do so today. That is why they said it, because they hate white people. They're anti-white. They practice anti-whiteism, and the evidence is all around us. That is how you treat yourself for the meme pathogen. And if you have more questions about this after